Mize, let's talk Chicago Bears yet again. This is a team they've been all over the news this offseason for all the right reasons. They made a lot of really great moves. Of course, trading back, I should say, from the number one overall pick, getting the haul they did. They've also been very active in free agency. But recently, the Bears kind of made a really sneaky good under the radar move that I think will be huge for them going into next season.
Yeah, Nick, the Bears obviously traded back from the number one overall pick because they have their QB of the future. They like the guy that they have. And sometimes, Nick, you got to look a little bit further down the depth chart, see the guy behind the guy. And that's what I want to know today from Bears fans. Who's been your favorite backup quarterback of all time? There's a lot of good options on this historic franchise. So let me know in the comments below. Who is your favorite Bears backup quarterback of all time? And also, Nick, I'd like everyone to stay tuned to the end of today's video to hear a word from the partner of today's video, Neuro. But Nick, what is this savvy move that the Bears have just made?
Yeah, so at this point in free agency, obviously we're in the second wave. A lot of the big names, in fact, virtually all the big talented names are gone. The Bears got certainly their fair share of those guys. And now it's about filling out your roster with quality depth. You don't want to reach for anybody and spend too much money or allocate too much capital to a guy who's really just going to be a depth piece. And the Bears did a great job addressing a key issue on their football team, of course, the front seven, by getting a quality depth piece. So the report here is, I'm going to go, if you want to go ahead and pull it up, Mize. Even as the Bears take chances on players who slip through the first wave of free agency, they're intent on staying young. The team signed defensive end Rasheem Green on Thursday, and he will get a chance to compete for a starting job. Green, 25, played 16 games for the Texans last season, was in for nearly half their defensive snaps, and had 3.5 sacks, more than any Bears defensive lineman. This is according to, I believe, the Chicago Sun-Times. Miles, I really love this signing because one of the things that happens this time of year in free agency is teams that are really trying to reload and rebuild quickly, they panic. They overreach. I remember the Denver Broncos last season. They signed former Dallas Cowboy defensive end edge rusher Randy Gregory. And Gregory was a talented guy whose name was in the news a lot, sometimes for not the best reasons. They had a lot of talent. They signed him to a huge deal. The guy's just not that good. He's only his career high 6 sacks in a single season. Guy was not very good. Here you have a guy in Green who's consistently been a steady performer. If you go back the past few years, 3.5 sacks last year, 6.5 in 2021. He had 2 sacks and an injury short in 2020. Had 4 sacks in 2019. That was with the Seattle Seahawks. So this is a guy, quality rotational piece, can get after the quarterback, can make plays, seems to be able to fit in a team situation very effectively. He seems to be more than happy sharing snaps as part of rotational guys, seems to fit in exactly what the Bears want to do on that side of the football. I think this is one of the better moves the Bears have made so far this offseason, even though it kind of slid under the radar a little bit. Give me your thoughts on the Bears, this move, and just everything going on with Chicago in general.
Yeah, Nick, I love what the Bears are doing, are building the depth of this defensive line with veteran guys. Because here's the deal here, Nick. That's what I think the Bears' plan is. I think the Bears probably try to target in their first round of the draft. They probably get an offensive lineman for Justin Fields. Then, there's a really deep secondary class this year. A lot of very talented guys going to be going into the second and third rounds of the draft. I think the Bears pick up one of those guys. I think they stick to this defensive overhaul by signing veteran guys like Green here to build up the bevy of guys that they have on this defensive line. They can rotate them in and out and keep the pass rush moving, and build veterans on the D line because they've already done a great job of rebuilding the secondary as far as the safeties go. Brisker and Jackson are very, very good. Your linebacking core is set now. You have your young stud and Sanborn. Then you got Edwards and Edmonds and their complete overhaul of the linebacker group to round out the front seven. You just got to get some guys that can get home to the passer. Obviously, Green was able to do that a couple times, more than any other Bears lineman was last year. So, that's good enough. And you just keep it going, Nick. You just keep the train going. This rebuild isn't going to happen in a day. I think one more offseason, one more draft after this year, and the Bears are going to be looking very, very scary. They obviously look pretty good right now as compared to where they were last year. But I think one more year and this team is going to look like a monstrous team. But I like the foundation they've built so far. And I think signings like this are going to be what help you get through the next couple of years. Just depth guys that are pretty solid, young, and they have a chance to come on your team, fit the culture, not going to cost you $10 billion, Nick. I think this is a really good move by the Bears here.
Yeah, and another thing that kind of goes forgotten when you bring in a guy like Green, right? This is obviously a veteran who can be productive. It allows you, if you get a young guy in the draft or a young guy you're trying to develop, it doesn't force you to play him in positions he's not comfortable with or positions he's not at his best. I'm going to bring up the Micah Parsons example because I'm obviously a big fan of Parsons. When Parsons first came to Dallas, because of some of the versatile defensive linemen Dallas already had, because some of the versatile linebackers that the Dallas already had, they allowed Micah Parsons to basically figure out what he was best at and eventually put him in that situation, and he became the disruptive force that he is now known to be. Guys like Green allow you to look at players that may be disruptive forces, and it forces you to not have to put them in positions they stink at. For example, let's say Micah Parsons was drafted as a linebacker, even though he's a heck of a pass rusher, because Dallas had depth at linebacker, some veterans, some solid guys, some Rasheem Green-esque kind of players. It allowed them to put Parsons at defensive end in a lot of situations and allowed Micah Parsons to be the great Micah Parsons he's come to be. It's the same thing that's going to happen with Rasheem Green. If the Bears have a young, talented defensive lineman, but they don't want to put him in situations, maybe short yardage, maybe some other situations that they don't want that guy to go against because it's not to the best part of his skill set, Rasheem Green can fill that role while they continue to develop that young guy and put him in positions to be successful. And that's one of the things that's lost on signing players like Green. They're productive, they're smart, they're versatile, and it allows you to develop the young guys without getting the what kicked out of them as they try and figure out the game of football and figure out what they're best at. I think this is low-key a really smart move by the Chicago Bears, because I agree with you, Miles. They're still, while they're a lot better than they were last year, they're still trying to feel out some of their younger guys and feel like who's going to be the core pieces going beyond the season into the years that follow. And I think a guy like Green will allow them to continue heading down that direction. All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner in today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big-time game-winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.